Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. I'm going to read through the full article here. There is a link in the description. It was published a couple of days ago. This is not a publicized case as far as I'm aware, and it is absolutely horrific. A 2-year-old girl has been murdered. There's a description of the injuries she suffered. I'm going to read through that, and I need to give you a trigger warning because they are absolutely terrible. This guy has no idea how the 2-year-old girl that was in his guardianship at the time, under his care, in his care, at the time of her suffering horrific injuries, seemingly he has no idea how she suffered the injuries that she did. This guy's name, this scumbag's name, is Travis Ray Thompson from Florida. He's been arrested. Again, in regards to the 2-year-old girl's horrific injuries. And the 2-year-old girl, we don't know the girl's name, died a few hours after the mother attempted to take the young girl to hospital. She'd stopped breathing and she died. Another part of the story won't come as a surprise to many of you. He is or was the boyfriend to the mother. So the mother was in a relationship with this violent psychopath, and they had just broken up a week prior. Apparently this psychopath was very, very angry despite that. The mother, forgive me. The mother was dumb enough, reckless enough, thoughtless enough, negligent enough to leave her 2-year-old toddler in the care of this angry psychopath. I mean, I say apologies because I don't wish to trouble the mother any further. The mother has lost her 2-year-old girl. She's going to be devastated. That devastation is going to remain with that mother for the rest of her life. But it's important to lay blame where it's appropriate. And my feeling, without knowing all of the details, I might be missing a trick or two, but my feeling, based on these cursory level of information that we get from an article, is that the mother has to be considered at least partially to blame for exposing her 2-year-old girl to this psychopath. That is, if he is indeed guilty. I presume that he is. The girl was in his care at the time. That seems to be bona fide fact. The police have deemed it appropriate to arrest him and to charge him in connection with the death of the 2-year-old girl. He's accused of murder in the first degree whilst engaged in aggravated child abuse in regards to the 2-year-old girl who died early May of this year. Okay, so we're going to look through the details a little more thoroughly at this point. According to the Marion County Sheriff's Office, again, this happened in Florida, the defendant, this scumbag, Travis Ray Thompson, the defendant abused the girl in such a way that left her spine completely severed. He broke her back, is that it? Left her spine completely severed. Snapped her in two. I'm sorry. He then waited 30 minutes before taking her to the hospital. Here's a quote from the sheriff's office. Based on the severity and the nature of the break, the physical break, it was determined that the scumbag in question applied significant gradual force to the victim's upper and lower body from the front with a fulcrum point on the lower back. I'm sorry, he snapped her in two. What a sick... According to an autopsy, the child died from traumatic injuries resulting in the disarticulation of the lumbar spine. The break was caused by significant gradual force being placed simultaneously on the front of the victim's upper torso or head and the lower body. Those injuries also resulted in the girl suffering large amounts of internal bleeding. This happened May the 2nd, 2022. The mother was staying with this scumbag, her ex-boyfriend, staying with him because she was going to help him fix the car or fix the van the next day, something like that, fix the camper. The mother went to work. The little girl, the 2-year-old, was left in this scumbag's care. And, the scumbag is denying any knowledge. Oh, I don't know how this happened. He says he found the girl limp and gurgling. He heard a loud sound. He came to the bathroom and the girl was limp and gurgling. According to this guy, the angry ex-boyfriend, the 2-year-old girl somehow managed to inflict these injuries on herself. The mother returned to the camper. They both tried to take the girl to hospital. And I believe they did arrive at the hospital. But the little girl, again, we don't know her name, died shortly thereafter, within 3 hours after arriving at the hospital. The injuries were clearly showed signs of abuse. An investigation was started, and again, the scumbag in question, the alleged scumbag, has been arrested and charged with murder. The article goes on to tell us that the mother had broken off the relationship with this psychopathic scumbag about a week before the death of her child. He was angry about that. That anger is shown in text messages. Yet the mother, again, I'm going to say foolishly, negligently, chose to leave her 2-year-old daughter in the hands of this angry psychopath. The mother has to be called into question for some degree. I'm not saying criminal charges need to be laid against her. I'm not suggesting that. That wouldn't necessarily seem appropriate to me. But, I say this because, to me, shame, the concept of shame, does have purpose. If it didn't, it wouldn't be a thing. It has a function, and part of that function is to say, hey people, don't do these ridiculously foolish and dangerous things. Hey women, hey mothers, if you're a single mother, okay, well that's not great, but it is what it is. Be careful of who you choose your partners to be. Yeah? Be careful with who you expose your children to. Some men are extremely violent, some women too. But, let's be real about things. Some men are extremely violent. Some men are sick and will knowingly, purposefully cause injury and abuse to a child. Physical abuse, and some will go, other types of abuse. So the mother has to realize their responsibility. Their responsibility is to be a mama bear and to protect their children. The children can't protect themselves. The children are incredibly 100% totally vulnerable when left with anybody. They're vulnerable. The children are vulnerable. You leave them in the hands of someone with ill intent, and your children are going to suffer horrendously. If that's something that needs to be spread. That needs to be understood throughout society, throughout communities, throughout families, you know. The little girl's grandparents should have expressed to the mother, hey mother, who the hell's this guy you're hanging around with? How do you know him? You know, what's his criminal background? Is he a good guy? You know, if you've broken up with him and he's angry about it, should you really be taking your children and leaving your children with them? And if the mum says, well, I had to go to work, I had things to do, I don't know, there just has to be a better way. And leaving your children with those people that can't be trusted is negligent. So anyway, I've made my point there. I'm going to wrap things up here. I mean, of course, condolences to the mother and to the family. What a sick, sick situation. I hope the investigation goes well. I'm sure it will. Seemingly, the 2-year-old girl was alone in a camper van, only with this scumbag here. He's claiming innocence. He doesn't know what happened. He heard a loud bang. The 2-year-old was collapsed on the floor gurgling. He has no idea what happened. But the scientists do know. The forensic scientists know. The autopsy reporters know. The medical professionals know how this 2-year-old girl died. They know that she suffered physical force such that it severed her spine. This guy needs to be thrown into jail, locked away, if not given the death penalty. I'm going to wrap things up here, guys. If I've done a half decent job, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care.